So we are in week 2. And maybe you're joining us for the first time this week, or we're in week 2. And last week I essentially said this, it should be on the screen. It says, we are the sum total of the decisions that we make. Think about it. Who we are today is the result of the choices that we have made in the past. And when you think about it, the decisions that we're making today, that we made this last week, they really impact who we become and what we can do in the future. So today, let me ask you a question, also participation, okay? How many of you would honestly say that sometimes you wish that there was more time that you could do something that was really important to you? How many wish you had more time that you could do something that was really important? Like everybody almost raised their hand, yeah. Like almost virtually, almost everybody raised their hand. And you would say, I wish I had more time to do whatever, right? Maybe more time to read. Maybe more time to rest. Maybe more time to play video games. Maybe more time to spend with my kids. Maybe more time to garden. Maybe more time to fish. Maybe more time just to kind of spend alone. All those introverts, right? Like I just want to be in my own. Right? But most of us, all of us almost raised our hand and said, I wish I had more time to do something that was important to me. But if you're like most people, you really don't. Let me say that again. But if you're like most people who say that I don't have the time because I got to do what? I got to go to work. I got to cut the yard. I got to do the dishes. I got to do these chores. I got to take my kids here. I got to take my kids there. I got bills to pay. I got kids to raise. I got to get the right Instagram caption, right? Right? And next thing you know, it's like 30 minutes later, like right? I got to get the right filter on. We all say, I wish I had more time to do something, but I just don't have the time. In fact, and I don't know if you ever noticed, or whenever you ask people, like, you ever ask somebody, like, hey, how are you doing? The majority of the time when I ask people, hey, how are you doing? Man, I'm busy. I'm so busy. Hey, how's it going? Busy. Right? I don't think I've ever asked anyone, and I go, hey, how are you doing? Relaxed. Just chilling. Life is easy. Having quality time. I've never had anybody say that to me when I've asked, hey, how are you doing? It's always, how are you doing? I'm busy. I'm so busy. I'm trying to do all this stuff. And I'm convinced, and I can't prove this from a theological standpoint, but I think I can't prove it from theological, but I think I can prove this. But I think that if Satan can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. If Satan can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. He'll make you busy by doing things that really may not, in the scheme of grand life, may not really matter. In fact, as I asked most of you who said you wish you had more time for something that was important to you, almost everybody raised their hands. So what that tells me is we have a little issue that we need to deal with this morning. In fact, this is why I'm trying to train myself. I'm trying to train myself, and I'm working really, really hard to never say I don't have the time. And the reason that I'm working on this, and you should work on this as well, never say you don't have the time. Because here is the truth of the matter. It should be on the screen. We all have time for what we choose to have time for. We all have time for what we choose to have time for. So anytime I kind of catch myself saying, I wish I had more time, I stop. Because you see, the problem is I'm actually choosing something over something else. Like, so I'm going to choose what I have time for. We all have time to choose what we have time for. So our choice today on don't screw it up in 2020, this is our choice. It's we need to choose the important over the urgent. We need to choose the important. Is that a slide? That should be a slide. Let's choose the important over the urgent. And with God's help, He will empower us. He'll help us choose that which is important over which is urgent. Now, I can almost imagine y'all kind of thinking in your head, well, wait a minute, aren't they kind of the same? Isn't urgent more important than important? Or aren't they kind of on the same level? Here, I want to give you a little distinction between what is urgent and what is important, okay? I'm going to give you two different examples. For example, if you have a car and your car engine needs repaired because you didn't change the oil on it, getting your engine repaired is urgent. But what is changing the oil? Important. Another example would be you're really sick, and you didn't really take care of yourself, so now you're at the doctor, and you're overwhelmed, and going to the doctor for treatment is urgent because you didn't take care of your body, which is important. Does that make sense? And so I'll only choose the important over the urgent. In fact, has anybody ever heard of Seth Godin? Yeah. Seth Godin's really, he's a marketing guru, he's a business guru. And he says there's a difference between urgent and important. He said this: if you choose what is important, you won't deal with as many things that are urgent. If you choose that is important, you won't deal with as many things that are urgent. But he said the opposite is never true. If you're only choosing that which is urgent, then you're not going to be faced with more things that are important. So what I want you to do today is look with me in the book of Luke, chapter 10, and we're going to look in Scripture. And most of you probably know this story. It's the story of Martha and Mary. It sounds like a sitcom, maybe like Laverne and Shirley, with all your older people. Anybody older Laverne and Shirley? Yeah. Or like Nick at Night, if you remember that growing up. We're going to look at Martha and Mary. So we're going to look at Luke chapter 10, verse 38. So what happens is that she's so overwhelmed. Martha is so overwhelmed. She does what so many of us do, that she is overwhelmed by the urgent that she misses what is most important. And here's what Luke describes. Luke 10, starting in verse 38. He said, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened up her home to him. She had called a sister called Mary. She had a sister called Mary. And we're going to see Mary chooses. We're going to see that Mary chooses what's most important. So Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. So Mary chose what was important, and Martha did what so many of us do. She surrendered to the urgent. Now, how many, honest, when you have people or friends or family come over for like dinner or just coming over, how many of you like frantically just like throw stuff like underneath your bed, like in the closet, right? Right? Or you just frantically throw stuff like you light the good candles, right? You just light those good candles, right? And you finally like wipe off the countertop of all this stuff, right? And we were so cool, like you get so early, like kids, clean your room, vacuum underneath your bed. Mom, we're not going to go underneath the bed. It doesn't matter. Vacuum underneath the bed, right? We kind of get excited, but we kind of get to almost freak out mode, right? We bring out only the special, like Chantel has these special like dessert plates that we only use for company. Yeah, that's only special dessert plates that we. So we do this, right? But if somebody's coming over, like we all we don't get in panic mode. We just get like freaky clean mode. And so this is what happened with Martha. Jesus is coming over. We got to get it fixed. We got to get the queso just right. Right? We got to get the potpourri to match the shower curtains. I don't know. This is something we got to get it right. But if we just do this for like normal people, can you imagine like Martha? Like, oh my goodness, Jesus is coming over. I've heard stories of him, but he's the Son of God. He's the King of Kings. He's the great I am. So Martha is freaking out as many of us probably would if Jesus was coming to our house. Martha freaks out, and she misses what's really, really important. Here in verse 40, let's go to verse 40. It says this. But Martha was what? Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm getting more and more distracted all the time. I'm getting more distracted all the time. Just this week, like, I'm freaking out. I had to leave. I was there back in the green room, and I had to leave. I'm like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? Where are my keys? For about 3 minutes. They were in my hand. Has anybody that ever happened to anybody? Right? And then like the next day, same thing. I'm like, where are my AirPods? Where are my AirPods? Where are my AirPods? And my ears. This is cheaper than therapy, right? I don't have to talk to you. I was trying to stop you. Like, I got some problems. Like, I'm trying to work out these issues. Like, I don't know how, but I'm trying to. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. Like, I have to do this. This was so urgent. I have to get this done. And so she comes to Jesus, and what does she do? She basically tattled on her sister. Let's continue reading verse 40. And I can hear her kind of whining. Lord, don't you care? My sister has left me to do all the work by myself. Tell her to help me out. That's basically like, oh, Mama. tell her to help me out. She was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. And I wonder today, honestly, how many of us have been significantly distracted by things that's where we're distracted by it. We're distracted from the most important thing. Like I would say it this way. I wonder how many of us, including me, how many have been faithfully pursuing the urgent and neglecting that which is most important? I wonder how many of us have been faithfully pursuing the urgent and neglecting that which is most important. So the big question I want us to deal with this morning is this. It should be on the screen. What is the most important thing I've been distracted from pursuing? What is the most important thing I've been distracted from pursuing? And let me put a pin in that real quick. This week, our AVL starts getting installed, guys. So we will have this little TV. Well, and it's not a little TV. It's a big TV, but this entire back portion of the wall will be all projector, so you have to all see better. But I know some of you are kind of going, I'm sorry. But in 2 weeks, it's going to be pretty. I promise. Okay. So, what is the most important thing that you think about for your life? What is the most important thing that you've been distracted from doing? I hope you'll take a moment and just really, really let this settle in. What is the most important thing? Well, some would say, and honestly those who are Jesus followers would say, well, I've been distracted maybe from spending time with Jesus. I haven't really put him first. I haven't had this intimate time with him. I don't really read anymore. I barely do these devotionals maybe from the Bible app. I'm not really kind of meditating on his word. I really haven't aligned my heart to his. I've kind of been distracted from that. Some of you say I've been so busy that I've been so busy living for my children, I haven't been enjoying my children. And there's a difference. And some of you may say that. I've been so distracted by taking them here and there and doing that and making sure that I haven't really been enjoying my children. Some of you are honest, maybe you become child-centered parents and you've neglected your own spousal relationship. Then it's all about the child, it's all about the child, it's all about the child, and then next thing you know, you're sitting next to a stranger. Maybe you're neglecting your relationships. Some would say maybe I've neglected my physical body. There's too much going on, so much of this urgent stuff that, I just can't work out. I can't work out in the morning because I'm so tired. I can't work out in the afternoon because I have to work overtime. And we kind of just neglect and neglect and neglect. And there's others, maybe you're in an addiction or a habit or a reoccurring sin that you need to deal with, you need to confess, you need help for that. Maybe you've been ignoring that. Look at the text. I like this. Martha's distracted, verse 41. Jesus answers her. He says, Martha, you're worried and upset about many things. Let me stop there for a moment. He says, you're worried and upset about many things. Some of you, that's your life verse. You're freaked out all the time. You're always jumping to worst case scenarios. You're always thinking something bad's going to happen. You're always kind of you're never in the moment because you're always thinking about something else that could happen. The kids have to be clean. The stuff has to be done. Yes, I understand that. But you're always worrying about something, Martha. And he says this, what has Mary done? She has chosen what is better. She made a choice. So Martha surrendered to the urgent. Mary chose what was important. Listen. If we're not intentional about this, I promise you, the urgent will always overcrowd the important. The urgent will always overcrowd the important. And this happens all the time. We have a choice. We have choices to make. We have time, what we choose to have time for. We really do. Now, what I don't want is, I don't want it to be like I'm a stick in the mud and I'm kind of getting after it. Well, I am. But there needs to be some application to this, right? So here's some application to it so you're not mad at me, okay? So here we go. So now what I want to do is just kind of say, hey, you don't stink, guys, I love you, we launched in 2 weeks, so we're happy. But you make time what you make time for, right? But we often surrender that to which is urgent. And what I want to do is I want to give us 3 practical thoughts, just 3 totally, completely practical thoughts on how to empower you to choose that which is most important. So if you're a note taker, here's what I want you to do. Number 1 is this. I want to encourage you is to create artificial deadlines. create artificial deadlines. To me, it has been such a strategic tool for me in the way I live my life. You might say, what is an artificial deadline? Let me give you an example. An artificial deadline is an artificial deadline. That's what it is. It's a fake deadline. It's artificial. It's not real. So I'll give you an example off of me. So I have kind of made it a point that by Wednesday around 2 o'clock, I need my message. Well, it's supposed to. My message is supposed to be finished by Wednesday, so I can send it off so they can put it on PowerPoint. It looks all nice and neat. But my artificial deadline is Monday at 2 p.m.
Yep.
My artificial deadline, it's Monday at 2 p.m. And when do I finish? Monday around noon. It's a deadline. I don't have to have it till Wednesday. But you know why I put that artificial deadline? Because it's important to me. Why would I wait? Why would I wait to the deadline on something that's important? To me, I think the message is important, so it should be. So I get it ready by 12 o'clock. Think about it. How many of you like when you take vacation time, and maybe your vacation time you leave on a Wednesday. I'm sorry, your last day is on a Wednesday, right? So what happens that week? Well, okay, I got 5 days of work. That means I push it to 3 days. And what happens? You actually get those 5 days of work into 3 days. Why? It's an artificial deadline. You got somewhere to go. See, we can do it. We do that all the time. But if we set these artificial deadlines, if it's all important and they're hanging in the balance, we're never 100% focused. But when we put our artificial deadline on it, we're telling ourselves, this is important to me. This is going to get done. This is the most important. And so here's how it really works in your own life, how you can apply it. For example, well, like I said, I just gave that one. Never mind. We put the 5 days of work into 3 days. So we're going to create artificial deadlines. We're going to put some effort, some really good effort into something that matters most to us. We're going to get it done first. Second thing, if you're taking notes, and this is what I beg you, I plead you, is this. Be ruthlessly selective in your yeses. Ruthlessly. Ruthlessly, baby. Ruthlessly selective in your yeses. Be incredibly careful and prayerful about what you say yes to. And let me preface it with this, even to family. Don't let family guilt you into something. In fact, I would argue with all my heart that for most people today, that the barrier to a meaningful life is not the lack of commitment, it's overcommitment. For most people today, the barrier to a meaningful life is not that you're not committed, it's that you're way too overcommitted. You're doing way too much. Remember we said earlier, hey, how have you been? I'm busy. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. Understand this. Busyness does not necessarily equal productivity. Busyness does not necessarily equal meaning. And busyness does not necessarily equal fulfillment in life. In fact, most people, instead of adding to your to-do list, you know what you need to do? Is add a to-don't list. Make a to-don't list. What are we not going to do as a family? What are we not going to do as an individual? Like, I no longer do these things. In fact, most successful people, they're strategic, and they say no more than they say yes. Do you know that? The most successful people, leaders, will say no more than they say yes. Why? They say no to the good things so they can say yes to the best things. So don't come anywhere close to doing it all because you can't do it. Or you can do it for a little bit, but you're gonna burn, you're gonna crash and burn. So don't do more of what matters most. So we need to be ruthlessly selective in our yeses. I want you to have a more meaningful life. I want to encourage you to say no more than you say yes. And you say yes to the things that matters most. So what we're going to do, we're going to set artificial deadlines that frees us up for our own energy to be devoted to the things that really, really matter. We're going to be ruthlessly selective with our yeses. And our last one, the third one, if you're taking notes, is a big one, is we're going to do what matters most. Do first what matters most. In fact, when we go into Luke's text, he's talking about Mary and Martha. If we're going to give this purest interpretation of what we just read, what matters most? Time with Jesus matters the most. Above all, time with Jesus trumps everything. Mary had chosen what is better. Time at the feet of the Master, and it will not be taken away from her. In fact, if I could chase a rabbit just kind of real quick, there are a lot of you in this room that are followers of Jesus. And let me tell you what you're not doing right. You're not aligning your heart toward the kingdom every single day. I know you're not. You're not first seeking Him in the morning. You're not letting His word get regular, deep, and penetrate your heart. You're not having that one-on-one time with Him. How do I know this? Because I know human nature. And is that we add more and more and more, and these things that on the outside that crowd us spits out what's on the inside. Spits out the most important things. And if you really do love Jesus, and you really do want to make a difference, but we don't seek Him first. We'll do everything else first in the morning, but we don't seek Him. Why? Because we're tired. Why are you tired? Because you're busy. Why are you busy? Because you said yes to too many things. And you end up, you get up, you're like, okay, you know what, I'll just pray during, on the way to work. And then you start just like cursing at people on the way to work. It's driving so bad, right? Like, I'll just do it on my lunch break. Then you wind up just meeting somebody for coffee for lunch, which is great. I'll just pray on the way, I'll pray on the way back from work. Well, then you're cussing again on the way back from work. You know what, I'll just do it when I get home. Oh, dinner has to be made. You know what, I'll just do it, I'll have a little quiet time in the shower. And you just don't take a shower that day sometimes, because apparently people don't take showers every day. I didn't know that. That's a totally different thing. Like, well, I'll just do it for a good bit, and then you fall asleep. It's because you said yes to so many things, and the things that you want to do end up getting put off until you say, only if I had time. If I could make the strongest argument I can, the most important thing that we can do first is put in time with Jesus. Not like out any legalistic idea, like, well, pastor said that I have to. No, it's because I need Jesus every day. I don't know about you, I need Jesus every day, because you don't want me without Jesus. And we need Jesus every day. We need His word to renew our mind. We need to align our heart to His priorities. Like, if I'm going to choose what's most important first, I need Him in my life. Because I don't know about you, without Jesus in my life, I made a lot of bad choices. And I put a lot of things in front of Him when I didn't choose Him first. See, the problem with us is that we're seeking everything else first. And we're wondering, why isn't this working out? We seek Him first. God, give me the mind of Christ that I might think on you and honor you. Give me eyes to see what you only see, Lord. Give me ears to hear your Spirit talking to me. May my mouth be an encouragement to everyone. May I speak your truth, Lord. God, give me a pure heart that I may serve you. God, use my hands that I may bring glory to you. Every day we align with Him, but some of you don't. We do first what matters the most. And here's why, the bottom line, and it should be on the screen. You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you can't make both. You can make excuses, you can make progress, but you can't make both. See, this is why some of us are frustrated in our walk with God, because you're trying to do both. You're trying to make excuses on why your life isn't the way that you think it should be, but you're not making any progress to get any better. You say you're a believer, you come to Sunday morning service, you do other stuff, but you're not putting Him first, and then you get frustrated and you blame God. Do what matters first. We have time for what we choose to have time for. We do what matters first. We will not let our spiritual enemy talk us out of the important and consistently surrender to that which is urgent. When we do more of what is important, we'll have fewer things that are urgent, but the flip side is never true. Mary had chosen what is better, and it wouldn't be taken away from her. Listen, we all have a choice. You have time for what you choose to have time for. You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you cannot make both. See, if you choose that which is most important, there won't be as many things that are urgent. Martha was distracted by urgent things. Mary chose what was most important, and it will never be taken away from her. That's why with the help of Jesus, we will choose every single day to seek Him first. We need to be ruthlessly selected to our yeses, selective in our yeses. And we need to set some artificial deadlines. See, In order to not screw up 2020, we have to make some life changes. We have to make some decisions and choices. Because you know what? If we don't do that in 2020, 2020 is going to look like 2019.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's why this sermon series is so important for you and for me. Because we don't want to screw up 2020. Because some of us screwed up 2019. So let's not screw up 2020. Let's start being active in our faith. Let's start being active in making those changes to have a better 2020 life. Yes, so you can have a great life, but also so you can show the light of Jesus and the love of Jesus to others in 2020 like has never been seen before. Amen. That people can see a difference. Like, man, you were screwed up in 2019, but 2020. Like, I don't like 2019 version of you, but 2020 version of you, I'll take that. This is why it's so important. Set artificial deadlines. Be ruthlessly selective in your yeses and put the most important thing first, and that is Jesus. Let's bow our heads. Father, I ask, Lord, that your Holy Spirit, Lord, would do a deep work in our hearts this morning, Father. Lord, because of our culture, we need it. God, help us align our hearts with you, Lord. Align our hearts with you, Father. Lord, align our hearts, Lord, that we would have the courage and the wisdom to say no to good things so that we can say yes to the best things. God, help us choose that which is important over that which is urgent, Father. And as we take a moment to reflect, there may be some of you this morning that earlier where I was saying, what is the important thing that you are neglecting? What I want you to do is choose one of those. Some of you may be fine with Jesus, that's your first thing, but there's been some other things that you've been neglecting. So I want you to choose just one of those. You may have, 3 or 4 like I did, but if there's 1 or 2, just choose one of those. If it's your body, if it's your health, if it's your marriage, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your kids, it could be your spiritual life. Something that's really obvious to you and you recognize it, and you've allowed the urgent to overwhelm and to cut out the important, and suddenly it becomes clear that I need God's help. So I just want to pray for you this morning. So if that's you, if you know that you've been kind of neglecting something, and you need God's help, can you just raise your hand and put it back out? Thank you, I see that. I just want to pray for you this morning. I see that. I'm going to pray for you right now. God, I thank you so much, Father, for people who have come every week, Father, to receive from you. God, I thank you, Lord, that you speak. Lord, I thank you for your word, that it's living and it's active, Lord, and it penetrates our soul and it conforms us to the image of your Son, Jesus. And this morning I pray that, Lord, that we would align our hearts and our minds to you, Father. That, Lord, that we would seek you first. And that we'd understand, God, that we're just lifting up, Lord, something that we've neglected, and by the power of the Holy Spirit, Father, we ask, Lord, to come and help. Send your helper, Father. Help us choose wisely and to follow the direction of where your Spirit is leading and guiding us. Direct our steps, Lord, that we are aligned with your truth, Lord, that we would choose that which is most important. God, we thank you, Lord, that would never be taken away from us. Lord, we thank you and we praise you. And it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you all so much for joining us for week 2 of Don't Screw It Up. Before you leave, don't forget, ladies, sign up for If Gathering. And please sign up to be a volunteer for our grand opening here in 2 weeks. Y'all have a great Sunday. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you.